Yeah, I was raised in Europe, and my father was an American. He was an Indiana Hoosier, worked with civil service with the American Army. My mother was French, and we basically were raised in a very dysfunctional home. Threw myself into the counterculture movement, the hippie movement that was prevalent at the time. This is back in the late 60s. Once the drugs ran out, the love ran out. Well, there came a day when one of the girls, she was an English girl named Maxine. She happened to be in Cocoa Beach at the time, visiting friends. And she called me up. I was in Jacksonville. She called me up and she said, "Danny, you need to come down here. I've got a large bag of pot, and it's free. If you want it, come down and get it." So I told Maxine, I said, "I'll be right down." I met up with Maxine, and I could tell something was up. She took me in the back room to talk to me, and she just fixed, her eyes just were fixated on me. And she said, "Danny, I don't have a pot, but I do have Jesus." And I got upset. I had driven all the way down to Cocoa Beach for this. And so I was disappointed, but she kept talking to me. And as she talked to me, I realized that for the first time in my life, someone was talking to me that was taking a risk of losing our friendship because she could tell that I was disappointed in what she was saying. And that struck me, that I had never experienced that before, that she cared about me. And so reluctantly, I went to her little church where she had just met the Lord a day before. And when I did go, at the entrance to this little church, right there at Cocoa Beach, I had a Bible in my hand. And you have to understand, I'm an unbeliever. I'm reading all kinds of mysticism. But I did like getting high and reading the red letter, those words that Jesus spoke in the Gospels. And so the Bible, I always carried the Bible around everywhere I went, because I would get stoned and I just would enjoy immensely the red letter. So I'm holding this Bible as we go into the church, and the greeter, the man at the door, he looks at me, he says, "You're a believer, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And I wanted to go further and say, "But I'm also, I believe in this, that, and the other." Anyway, we went into the church, and they were already worshiping. I sat down. I was next to the aisle when I sat. I could tell there was something different than what I had experienced as a child in France going to Catholic Mass. There was something just lively. There was energy there. It kind of made me feel like I'm a little out of place here. I felt like he was reading me. And so I just started getting convicted. And the more he shared, the more I could tell that he knew what he was talking about. And he was speaking about this divine exchange, that if you gave your heart to Jesus, if you surrendered whatever you had in exchange for what he had, your life would be transformed. That there was something, an appeal of love to me, that he was not concerned about what he would get out of it. He was more concerned about what I would get out of it, that he wanted to see something imparted to me, something, a new life given to me. I managed to I don't even remember walking down to the altar, but I know that I did get down there. And by the time I did, I knelt But the next thing I know, I had collapsed on the floor. And the next thing I know, I have people laying hands on me, praying over me, and smiling and laughing and rejoicing. And I could tell they were sincere and they were glad to see that something transforming had taken place in me. That was 54 years ago, this transformation. And I just thank God that preacher, I don't remember his message, but I remember his gospel. I remember his emphasis on the fact that if you surrender all, that he will give you in exchange his all. And so here I am. I could go on for hours about the wonderful things that God has done in my life. And 54 years later, with 5 children, still married to the same woman that I love very much, and 15 grandchildren later, I just feel so blessed. And I look back at my life. It was a very abundant life, and I wouldn't change it for anything.